I thought I'd take a few minutes in between cleaning up the dishes and having a shower to do the fourth science fiction review. These are some books that I read over the last 3 years or so. And see, the trouble is I moved recently, so all the books I had from the last 10 years, most of them are gone. I donated them to charity. But I held on to the last 3 years or so. Most recently I read these ones here. I found Existence by David Brin here to be heavy and long, but David Brin usually is a lot lighter and easier to take. Robert J. Sawyer Triggers, on the other hand, was entertaining reading. Yeah, that was a good one. Joe Haldeman, he has this series, Marsbound, Starbound and Earthbound. It's missing a bit. Shall I say it's entertaining, but I'm always calling for more. I always want more from that one. Over here we have the typical Tears of the Sun by Steve Stirling, one of my favorite authors, but I'm getting tired of the Hobbits and Camelot kind of thing, you know. But he keeps on churning these out, and he keeps selling. I got over here another series by Steve Stirling that I'm starting to read. This one's called A Taint in the Blood. It's about vampires, but they're not exactly the same as Count Dracula type of vampires. They're a bit different. Over here we have Firebird by Jack McDevitt. I think this won the Hugo or Nebula Award. Nebula Award winning. Anyway, fabulous stuff. I think that's the one about a spaceship that somehow gets stuck in a time warp, and every 80 years or so it surfaces and comes out, and at one point these people match speeds with one of them, and they predict where it's going to pop up, and then they rescue 2 or 3 people from it, and these 2 or 3 people are little girls, and they grow up and they get old, and then they go and rescue their father the next time the ship comes out of the time warp. So I found that very entertaining, very thoughtful. The Oceans of Eternity, also Steve Stirling. Yeah, that was a good series. I actually preferred it to his other post-change books. Then of course we got here Vortex by Robert Charles Wilson. This was a very inventive kind of, how do you say, a series in which the Earth was covered up by a transparent shield which people could not go through, and time went slower on the Earth than in the rest of the universe. In the meantime, there had been a Mars before the barrier was put up. There was a Mars expedition, and the people who had gone to Mars had evolved into future human beings. And then for some reason the barrier between the Earth and the universe was lifted. And fabulous stuff. Very inventive. Then there's also China Miéville. Railsea I found kind of dark and very Dickensian, if that makes any sense. And On London was more playful vision of another London, but it's un-London. It's not like London. Well, it is like London, but it's not, if that makes any sense. There was also this trilogy. I think it was called Wake, Watch, and Wonder by Robert J. Sawyer. Another very entertaining read. It has to do with this girl who is blind and has been blind from birth, but she has received a technological advance through the help of computers to bring her sight. And very well written, very well put together. There's another author that I recently discovered in a used bookstore. It was Robert Brittner, and he's written some military kind of science fiction. And I found it quite entertaining, even though military stuff doesn't usually grab me so much. I've read some Peter F. Hamilton here. This one here was The Evolutionary Void. I guess it's a continuation of that whole series that Hamilton's been doing of the voids, and it spans thousands of years, and it goes to the galactic center, and it's big, and it's bold, and it's got a lot of words. So it takes a long time to get it, and the writing style is a little bit, I don't know. To me, it's a little clumsy. It doesn't flow like Heinlein, if you know what I mean. Ben Bova, always a treat. This one was The Leviathans of Jupiter, and most recently I've read Far Side from the same author. Yeah, most enjoyable. It's about a telescope, or an array of telescopes on the dark side of the moon that discovers another planet that's identical to Earth. And the next book in the series, which I already have that I haven't read yet, is about New Earth. So I'm looking forward to that. Anyway, I hope I haven't bored you too much with this little bit of 3 years of reading. I put up the first of these science fiction reviews on the 20th of December 2006, so way back at the beginning of my involvement in YouTube. And now it's been almost 9 years, so I figure, yeah, almost 9 years, once every 3 years or so I'll do one of these. And of course someone asked me in a comment to do it, so here it is. This one's for Tori.
Fetwick.
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 Fetwick. Fetwick.